In the 3rd year after being sent to the countryside, I lost the transfer letter and missed my chance to return to the city. After that, I married Leo. With the support of my parents, he joined the army, while I stayed behind in the countryside, working hard to manage the household chores. It wasn't until his death that I learned the truth. For 40 years, he had been looking after his first love, Lily. My children, once they moved to the city, also recognized Lily as their godmother. Before his death, Leo even applied to the organization to unilaterally end our marriage, just so Lily could enter the military district sanatorium. The only thing he left me was a single sentence: because of your transfer to the military factory. My relationship with Lily has been cut off for 40 years. We're even now. It turns out that I didn't actually lose the transfer letter, it was taken by him to allow Lily to return to the city early, and she even gained worker status. I caused a scene at the military district sanatorium, accusing them of 40 years of unjust treatment, but my children blocked me and even spoke harshly to me. You, a country woman, what do you know? You've enjoyed all these years of military spouse privileges, yet you're still not satisfied? I was so enraged that I couldn't catch my breath, but when I finally took a proper breath, I found myself back in the 3rd year after being sent to the countryside. The day the transfer letter was sent. Chapter 1. Zoe. We're engaged. Why are you still insisting on arguing about a few work points? Leo purposely pulled me aside, half scolding, half warning. Lily weakly placed her hand over her chest. Leo, it's all my fault. I feel dizzy after working for just a short time. Please don't blame Zoe. She's in the same group as me, so she has to do a bit more. The scene in front of me was so familiar, it made my blood boil. After finally returning to 40 years ago, I had planned to handle things quietly, get the transfer letter, and return to the city quickly, cutting ties with this pair of treacherous people who had wronged me. But they just had to come and cause trouble again. I estimated the time, thinking of going to the post office and making sure that the transfer letter didn't mysteriously disappear this time. But Leo kept talking. It's just a few work points. You can get them back tomorrow if you work a bit more. Besides, you don't have to support a family as long as the food is enough. It doesn't matter. We can't live a life of indulgence. Lily's weak. She should eat more meat. Taking some of your work points is just helping a comrade. I'm helping her, but you're always suspicious. Always thinking I have some dirty secret with Lily. Don't think that just because we're engaged, I'm stuck with you. If you keep acting like this, we won't even get married. Leo liked to use this tactic. After all, everyone in the team knew we were engaged, and if the wedding fell through, it would be hard for me to find someone else. In my previous life, he definitely used this to control me, but in this life, I was determined not to marry him. Fine. Then don't get married. Leo was incredulous. Zoe, what are you saying? Leo, don't forget. Lily's clothes were made from the fabric awarded to the top work points holder last year. You even went to the neighboring village to watch a movie with her, and those tickets were paid for with my work points. I snatched the work points book from Leo's arms and threw it on the ground. Just because the team leader gave you the authority to record work points doesn't mean you can recklessly assign my points to Lily. We're only engaged right now, and you're already giving my work points to someone else. If we actually get married tomorrow, you'll end up giving away everything I've worked for. I wasn't making empty threats. In my previous life, I had worked tirelessly, only for Leo to take my earnings and enjoy them with Lily. The thought made my teeth grind with anger. Leo was getting desperate. He picked up the book from the ground and pointed at my nose. Zoe, if you don't marry me, who else will you marry? You don't have high work points. You haven't contributed much. And you, the team leader rushed over. Girl, good news. Your father sent a telegram saying he managed to secure a spot for you in the military factory as a child of a worker. The transfer letter is on its way. It's a rare opportunity, so you'd better stay alert. My heart sank. The team leader's big mouth. Chapter 2. In my previous life, I naively let them delay me, missing the chance to go to the post office right away, which led to Lily intercepting the transfer letter. This time, even though I left early, I still ran into a problem. You should make more trips to the post office this week. If that transfer letter gets lost, You won't be able to return to the city." Leo and Lily exchanged secret glances, and I silently clenched my fists. Come to think of it, the reason Leo and I became engaged had a lot to do with the team leader's help. Out of all the young intellectuals sent to the countryside, I was the youngest female. After only a few days in the team, the leader arranged for me to live in Leo's house, calling it taking care of me. But who didn't know that Leo had many children, and he was the only adult man in the family. While I was in the same team, we worked together every day, and in less than 3 months, rumors started circulating that Leo and I were more than just colleagues. The team leader then happened to show concern for me, subtly reminding me, "As a young lady, your reputation is important. Leo is a cultural man, reliable and hardworking. I think you two are a good match. Why don't you go ahead and get engaged?" I was young, shy, and Leo had indeed helped me a lot, so I couldn't resist the team leader's good intentions and, in a daze, agreed to marry Leo. Looking back now, the team leader was clearly scheming. Out of all the intellectuals, I was the only one from a military family. Although my family couldn't bring me back right away, they always sent things over, afraid that I was suffering. Maybe the team leader had already conspired with Leo and Lily, waiting to let Lily take my opportunity to return to the city while Leo could benefit from my influence. In my previous life, they succeeded. I never got the transfer letter and then heard about my father's death, which devastated me. I was in a haze and married Leo. Soon after, I got pregnant with our first child. My mother, wanting to make things easier for me, had someone arrange for Leo to join the army. For the next 40 years, I stayed in the countryside, taking care of Leo's sick mother, raising his siblings, and raising our children. I tried my best to manage the household with his meager allowance. I always thought Leo understood my sacrifices and would cherish my hard work. However, when he passed away, I learned that he had arranged everything, including his estate, and didn't leave me a single penny. He even applied to unilaterally dissolve our military marriage, with the application slandering me, just so that Lily could be recognized as a military spouse and move into the military district sanatorium. The funniest part was that he claimed marrying me was compensation for taking that factory transfer letter. For 40 years, he had paid off that debt. He resented me, as I was the living barrier between him and Lily's love. I was supposed to return to the city, go back to the military factory compound, fulfill my duties to my parents, and perhaps become an engineer, contributing to modernization. But he stole my opportunity in life, climbed up using the chance my family gave him, yet only offered me half of the allowance, making me toil in the countryside for 40 years. Yet, in his eyes, I had already received special treatment. How could I not hate him? But hatred alone was meaningless. I was going to peel off the facade of these hypocrites and make them all pay the price. It was during the work break when I quickly ran to the post office. Because I had many parcels, Uncle Nestor recognized me. "Girl, here to check the telegram, right?" He handed me the telegram, and it was then that I saw the date. It was already yesterday. It turns out my initial time estimate was wrong. Seeing my face darken, Uncle Nestor tried to comfort me. "Don't rush. Leo's family has someone here asking for you these days." What Leo's family? Chapter 3. Uncle Nestor rubbed his hands together. "You're engaged to Leo, right? Leo, his mother, and his sister all ask about you when they pass by. They said you were busy with work, so they came to pick it up for you. Just last week, it was Leo who took your package. It was a big one, and I thought there was nothing wrong with it." I sneered inwardly. Nothing wrong? This is a huge problem. My chance to return to the city, my life, has all been calculated by this group of bloodsuckers. Uncle Nestor, my engagement to Leo isn't official yet. Even if it were, I should still be the one to pick up my things. I paused, then added, "Last week, there was no big package. By the time it got to me, there were only 2 buns and some candy." I even said that the new shoes Lily was wearing looked like something my mom made, and her hairpin seemed to be from a collection my aunt picked. Uncle Nestor's face turned pale. He understood that if I really reported this to the team, his good job at the post office would probably be gone. He stomped his feet anxiously, his wrinkles bunching up. How could Leo take your things and give them to Lily? Girl, wait here, I'll go get it for you. I have the receipt. It's all clearly documented. Uncle Nestor, from now on, no one is allowed to take my things except me. Got it? Uncle Nestor nodded and handed me a stack of receipts. As I flipped through them, I found many packages I didn't know about and thought I'd make them give it all back to me. Among them was a receipt with Ethan's name on it, but it was signed by Leo. I vaguely remembered that in my previous life, Leo had originally been supposed to receive Ethan's military enlistment quota. Ethan was probably the most unfortunate child in the team. 3 years younger than me, weak in health but sharp in mind, and a good-hearted person. He had once helped me collect medicinal herbs, and I had returned the favor by giving him some eggs. Then, he unexpectedly passed away. I think he drowned in the river. Leo saved him, but he died the next day from pneumonia. It wasn't until his death that we learned he was the youngest son of the regiment commander, who had been wrongly placed in our team. The commander, grateful for Leo's efforts to save his son, granted Leo the enlistment quota, which was what my mother had requested. From then on, Leo's life took off. In my previous life, I was deceived by Leo and Lily's love story and never thought about the cause of Ethan's death. Looking back now, everything seems suspicious. How could a child raised in a military compound easily fall into the water? And how could someone die from a simple pneumonia? It couldn't be. It must be because, like me, he was in the way of others' plans to return to the city. I gripped the receipt tightly, my knuckles turning white. This receipt is the evidence. I forced myself to calm down and carefully tucked the receipt away. I took out the few cents I had left and decided to send a telegram to the regimental commander. There's no such thing as an invincible thief, and thieves can't be watched forever. As long as Ethan is alive, Leo won't be able to return to the city and join the army. As for me, I must get that letter that will change my fate and not give Lily and Leo any chance. Who would have thought that the next day, the head of the team would come to cause trouble for me, all because of the 2 eggs I had given Ethan? Zoe, why did you take the team's eggs? This is communal property. Don't you understand? Stealing communal property would earn you a spot working in the mountains. Leo and Lily smiled behind the team leader, seemingly pleased that I didn't know who had caused this trouble. Chapter 4. Team Leader. That chicken was given to me after I was injured while gathering herbs on the mountain. Although it was raised at Leo's house, it ate my bran, so the eggs belong to me, I said firmly. Leo shook his head, denying it. Zoe, don't make up stories. The chickens at my house are communal property, just like the rest of the teams. Stop arguing. You know the consequences of the team's punishment. Pack up your things and go work in the mountains. With so many of them ganging up on me, I knew I couldn't argue my way out. So, I chose a different approach. I turned around, snatched the work points book from Leo's hands, and opened to my page. Team Leader, let's not talk about anything else. Just the time I fell while gathering herbs. You promised to add 2 extra points to my total. How is it that those 2 points ended up in Lily's name? Leo replied, that day, you went with Lily, so the points naturally went to her. I sneered, knowing it was the end of the workday. I raised my voice, catching Leo as he tried to leave. Team Leader, Lily was with you at the market that day, not on the mountain. How come Leo just decided to give my points to her like that? Everyone, be careful. Leo opens his mouth, grabs a pen, and your hard-earned work points end up in someone else's hands. Everyone around us stopped and started asking to see the work points book, worried that their own points had been miscounted. The team leader looked shocked, trying to cover my mouth. Zoe, don't make a big scene. It's just a quarrel between you two. A quarrel? Team Leader, we're not even married yet, but Leo sure knows how to use my stuff to make favors for others, I said with a sharp smile. I pointed to the hairpin on Lily's head. That's from my aunt. It has the Heischer Cultural Center logo on it. Then, I pointed to the shoes Lily was wearing. Those were made by my mom. The uneven stitching is something only my mom does. I waved the receipt in my hand. Look, everyone. Leo took my package, and instead of it reaching my hands, one by one, everything ended up with Lily. First, it's my stuff. Then my work points. Before we even get married, My home has already been stolen. Who would want to marry into this? As soon as I said that, the surroundings erupted. Murmurs and whispers filled the air as people began discussing Lily and Leo's relationship. Lily's face turned red, stammering, "Zoe, don't make up lies. I just borrowed these things to wear. Leo and I are just childhood friends. Don't slander us." I snatched the hairpin from Lily's head and pointed at the shoes on her feet. "Since you admit they're mine, give them back." Lily shrank back, too scared to look me in the eye, and glanced at Leo for help. Leo's face turned pale. "Zoe, stop making trouble. There are too many people watching, and both our reputations are going to suffer." Reputation? If it wasn't for the team leader saying I looked bad living in your house, would I even be engaged to you? Who doesn't know that the team leader is your elder uncle and that he's the one bullying us young, out-of-town youth? I stood up straight. "Everyone, help me bear witness. Starting today, I have nothing to do with Leo or his family. My things, my work points, they're not his to decide. Leo says these eggs are communal property, so let's take the issue of work points and go to the higher-ups to settle it. We can't wrong the good people, nor should we let the bad ones off the hook." The team leader was getting anxious now. "Zoe, don't make a big deal out of this. It's a small matter. I'm sorry, but here's the deal. You can move out of Leo's house, and I'll recalculate your work points for you." I sighed in relief. At least, I had cut ties with Leo's family for now. What I didn't expect, though, was that my transfer letter was still gone. Chapter 5. 5 days passed, and there was still no news about my transfer letter. Uncle Nestor reassured me repeatedly that there hadn't been any of my packages sent to him recently. By now, the transfer letter should have arrived. It had obviously been mishandled. Since the incident, Ethan had often come to speak to me on his own. I couldn't tell him everything from my past life, so I could only subtly hint for him to keep an eye on Leo. I also gave him the receipt that Leo had signed for on my behalf. Ethan, being smart, figured out what I meant, so he kept an eye on Leo's movements. "Zoe, your transfer letter hasn't arrived yet?" When I came over, I saw Lily packing her things, saying she was going to the city. I instantly felt something was wrong. In my past life, Leo took my transfer letter and gave it to Lily because her family had no way to get into the city. Why does it seem like she suddenly has a new opportunity this time? And it's happening now? Suddenly, I thought of another possibility. I rushed back to the post office. "Uncle Nestor, did the delivery person come today?" Uncle Nestor scratched his chin. "Yes. He just left not long ago. When he mentioned your letter, he seemed to have mentioned it. You'd better hurry and ask him." I ran with Ethan all the way to the village entrance and managed to catch up with the postal worker on his bike. "Hello, I'm Zoe from Production Team 1. Is there a parcel for me today?" The postal worker didn't hesitate much. "Yes, I think it's public mail. Didn't your husband take it? He even had a few receipt slips in his hand. He definitely took it for you." He even pulled out the receipt, and the name on it was Zoe. The handwriting was definitely Leo's. After seeing it for 40 years, I couldn't have mistaken it. But what good does it do that I recognize it? I have no proof. Why did I try so hard to cut ties with Leo? I've already changed the way the villagers see us. But why? Despite all my efforts, did the postal worker still give my transfer letter to him? Was I doomed to repeat the tragic fate of my previous life? I couldn't accept it. I was so frustrated. Ethan was even more anxious than I was. "My sister's still single, and a man comes and says he's her husband, and you believe him? You should have asked someone. How could you just hand over public mail like that? That's a big deal for my return to the city. If you delivered it to the wrong person, you'll be held responsible. Take the item. We're going to the commune to straighten this out." The postal worker was sweating profusely. I really didn't know about that. "I'll take you back to find Leo. We have to clear this up." I grabbed him. "What's the use of going back now? There's no proof, and the team leader will definitely side with them. Leo will insist I told him to sign for it. And what can you do? And what if they hide the letter or tear it up? Who can I turn to then?" Ethan suddenly slapped his head. "Right. Zoe, My dad's going to the county to see the secretary today. The secretary must have the list of recruits for the military factory. We not only have the transfer letter but also the list. The postal worker quickly added. Yes. The county is only a 2-hour ride from here. You wait here, and I'll go see the secretary. Ethan jumped on his bike. Zoe, I'll go with him. You stay and keep an eye on Lily. If she leaves with the letter, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Watching them ride off into the distance, I sighed. I didn't tell them that it would take 2 hours one way to get to the county, and 4 hours for a round trip. I feared I wouldn't be able to wait that long. Chapter 6. I walked briskly toward Leo's house. It was time for work, and I was going against the flow of people, which made me stand out. Several acquaintances greeted me, but I didn't have the time to explain anything and rushed straight into Leo's yard. Leo's house shared a big yard with Lily's, a place where they had grown up together, and it was also where both families had tormented me in my past life. As I thought about it, my anger surged, and I shouted at the two reluctant lovers. Storming toward Leo, I slapped him hard across the face. Leo, I told you I have no relationship with you anymore, so how dare you sign for my official letter? The slap was crisp and loud, leaving Leo dazed in place. Lily screamed, Zoe, you're slandering me. How dare you hit Leo? I grabbed her wrist, twisted it, and slapped her across the face. This time, Lily shut up, holding her face and crying as if I had bullied her. Give me my official letter. How dare you pretend to be my lover? I've asked the postal worker. There's a witness and evidence. Be careful. You might end up in jail. Leo, seeing that there was no one behind me, took a deep breath. What letter? I just picked something up for you, and now you're acting crazy. Here, take it. He casually pulled out an envelope and tossed it to me. I tore it open, only to find a blank piece of paper inside. What's this? Where's the real document? What did you swap it for? Lily sneered. It's just blank paper. Who knows what your relatives from the city sent you? You should be asking the person who gave you the letter, not us. Leo's younger brother and sister also came forward to confirm. Yes, we confirm. It's just blank paper. The people surrounding us nodded repeatedly. Kids don't lie. It's probably just a mistake by the sender. Leo's family acted like this, and after seeing it for 40 years in my past life, I now found it utterly disgusting. I sneered. Oh, it's blank paper. Huh? Do you dare come with me to the commune and write all of this down as evidence? The team leader came in, wiping his sweat. Oh, Zoe, it's time to work. Why are you still wasting time with a piece of paper? Hurry up and go. Here they came again. Once again, they relied on their numbers to prevent me from pursuing the matter. As the team leader, he did indeed have the authority to demand that I work on time. I looked at the package that Lily had failed to hide behind her and felt a wave of panic. If I went to work now, Lily would surely take the letter and leave. And where would I go to prove anything? No, I had to fight for this chance. I made up my mind, and suddenly lunged at Lily, snatching the package from behind her. The team leader and Leo's family were all stunned, probably not expecting me to actually make a move. I quickly opened the package, digging through a pile of clothes, and found an envelope. I pulled out the paper inside, but instead of the transfer letter, it was the identity verification letter issued by the team leader. Lily had a triumphant expression on her face, as if she could already see me returning to work in disgrace. Zoe, you've made a scene and searched through everything, but you still can't go back to the city. It's not our fault. You'd better go to work. Try to earn more work points. Who knows? Maybe there will be a return trip indicator later. Her tone was like she was doing me a favor. Leo also chimed in, his face wearing a false concern. Yeah, Zoe, Lily is right. Once we're married, we'll both earn work points together. Chapter 7. In my previous life, they used the same excuse to deceive me, and now, hearing it again, I felt nothing but disgust. But at the moment, I had no way out. The team leader came over and pulled me. Let's go. Hurry up and get to work. Just when I was almost in despair, Ethan's voice suddenly rang out from outside. We have the military factory recruitment list, And there's a coded registered letter. We can compare the codes. My spirits lifted, and I turned toward the gate of the yard. Ethan was out of breath, clearly having run over, holding up a piece of paper in his hand. You don't think just having an official letter means you can return to the city, do you, Zoe? The return indicator you're looking for is a privilege for military factory children. Leo's face turned pale, but he quickly started throwing mud at me. Zoe, I wondered why you suddenly wanted to cut ties with me, so you've found someone new. He looked Ethan up and down. Could it be that you know Ethan's family has a bit of background, so you're trying to climb the social ladder? Ethan was still a young man, and standing next to Leo, he appeared pale and weak. People around us started whispering, "She's leaving Leo for some pretty boy?" I knew some of the female youths here weren't serious about work, just full of tricks to climb the social ladder. She's even spreading rumors about Leo. A wife like that isn't worth keeping. Even Leo's mother, who had been silent until now, joined in the ridicule. Oh, Ethan, with your skinny frame, can you handle all this? The laughter echoed all around. Ethan, his face turning bright red, was about to argue when I grabbed him. If we started arguing, the topic would get sidetracked. I sneered at Leo. Leo, stop trying to change the subject. Ethan is here to deliver the list. Are you brave enough to compare the codes? If they don't match, then get ready to go to jail. Lily looked at Ethan and then smiled. Sure, take a look at the envelope. See if there's any code on it. Just as I was about to grab the envelope, Lily snatched it from my hands, ripped it up, and it was impossible to put back together. The action of ripping the envelope felt like a loud slap in the face. Burning with pain, I took a deep breath, forcing myself to suppress the urge to rush over and rip that smug grin off Lily's face. Calm down, Zoe. Stay calm. So what if you ripped it up? I scoffed, looking straight at Lily. You think this will cover up your crime? I'm telling you, even if you turn the envelope into dust, it won't change the fact that you switched my official letter. Oh, you're quite bold. Leo's mother sneered. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were someone important. It's just a return to city indicator. As if you're going to the heavens or something. I couldn't be bothered to respond to the spiteful old woman. I turned to the team leader. Team leader, you must give me an explanation. My official letter was swapped, and that's a serious criminal act. As the team leader, it's your responsibility to protect our rights as educated youth. The team leader wiped the sweat from his forehead, his eyes flickering. Zoe, this hasn't been fully investigated yet. Please don't rush. How can you investigate? A deep voice interrupted the team leader, with both witnesses and physical evidence. An explanation must be given. Ethan immediately broke into a relieved smile. Dad, you're finally here. The commander entered with the county secretary, holding a stack of documents. His presence was imposing. Leo and Lily's faces instantly turned as white as if they had been painted with lime. Chapter 8. Ethan's father walked straight up to me, concern in his voice. Comrade Zoe, thank you for informing us. He didn't receive the military application regarding this case of swapping return to city documents. We should indeed conduct a thorough investigation. This is not just your matter or Ethan's, but the matter of many military families and children. His tone became severe. Team leader, since someone suspects their official letter has been swapped, shouldn't an investigation be launched? The team leader, terrified, looked at Leo. Leo, care to explain? Leo turned to me, his tone softened. Zoe, stop making a scene. We're just arguing. Why make the commander and the others worry? You've seen it. The paper you received is just a blank one, and the one Lily has is just her identification. Everything is clear. Why bother the leaders with it? The secretary's tone became serious. This is not something that can be solved privately. Swapping return to city quotas is a serious matter. It must be dealt with strictly. What's more, switching official documents is a crime. The secretary turned to look at the pale-faced Lily and Leo. You two, what else do you have to say? Lily shuddered. Secretary, I don't know anything. It was Leo. He made me do it. Upon hearing this, Leo immediately panicked. Lily, you're lying. It was your idea. The people around quickly understood the situation, sneering at the two of them. Looks like it's the dog-eat-dog situation. Seems like they really did something wrong and are now guilty. I told you. Zoe is such a good comrade. How could she falsely accuse people? This family is despicable. And Lily. Who knows what kind of shady business she and Leo have going on. Zoe has been helping Leo's family with money and effort for years. And now this whole family is colluding to slander her. What a bunch of ingrates. As the situation grew increasingly unfavorable, Lily made a decision. She pulled out a letter from her clothing, ripped it in half, and then shoved it into her mouth, sobbing, "There's no evidence. There's no evidence." I tried to snatch it from her, but Lily bit me hard, causing blood to pour from my hand. "Lily, you think swallowing it will make it disappear? You're destroying evidence. That's even worse," I shouted angrily, while my eyes scanned the commander and the secretary, hoping they'd intervene and control Lily. But Lily stood tall. "Who dares to stop me? I'll accuse you all of bullying. Let's see who dares to come forward." For a moment, the room was stunned by Lily's shamelessness. There was indeed no evidence left. I stared at the half-shredded official letter on the ground and slumped down to sit, defeated. Lily, however, burst out laughing. "Zoe, if you won't let me return to the city, I won't let you either. We'll both stay here in the countryside. Your reputation is ruined, and from now on, you'll be tied to Leo for life. Your work points will still be shared with me, and your stuff will still be shared with me. That's your fate. You deserve to be stepped on by me." Lily's insane laughter stunned the crowd once again, but the commander snorted. "I've already said, an official letter isn't the only evidence for returning to the city." As soon as the commander said this, Lily's laughter abruptly stopped. A glimmer of hope ignited in my heart as I struggled to get up from the ground. The commander pulled a crumpled booklet from his pocket, flipped through a few pages, and pointed to one section, saying, "Comrade Zoe's father is the minister of the logistics department in the H military district, with a work-related injury rating of level 2. According to relevant policies, Comrade Zoe has the right to substitute her father's work quota and does not require an additional return to city quota." I was stunned. How is this possible? When did my father become the minister of the logistics department of the H military district? I remember he was just an ordinary arms repairman before. Chapter 9. Lily screamed. "Impossible. Her father is just a low-level worker. How could he?" The commander shot her a cold glance. "The documents from the H military district can't be fake. Do you want me to call the minister to confirm?" Lily immediately fell silent, her face turning as white as a corpse. Leo stood there dumbfounded, frozen like a piece of wood. The people around us began to whisper, their eyes filled with envy and jealousy. Turns out Zoe's father is that capable. No wonder she can return to the city. Looks like Lily and Leo are done for. They've lost more than they gained. Serves them right. What goes around comes around for bullies. Comrade Zoe, I have understood your situation clearly. I will arrange for you to return to the city as soon as possible. As for Lily and Leo, we will deal with them according to the law. Thank you, Commander. Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, everyone. I glared at Lily, then turned to leave, but Leo blocked my way. "Zoe, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I was incited by that bitch Lily. I swear I won't do it again." "Leo, I know exactly what kind of person you are. You're a selfish, petty man. I will never forgive you." I left without turning back, leaving Leo kneeling on the ground like a lost dog. The next few days, I started preparing my return trip. The people in the team knew about my situation and were all happy for me, giving me some homegrown fruits and grains as gifts. The day before I was to leave for the city, Leo blocked my way as I was heading home after work. The sky was getting darker. He had 2 dark circles under his eyes, a scruffy beard, and his clothes were wrinkled, looking like a refugee fleeing a disaster. "Zoe, I beg you, give me one more chance. I will treat you well from now on, okay?" "Leo, drop the act. Do you think I don't know what's going on in that scheming little brain of yours? You're only after me because I'm going back to the city, and you want to ride my coattails. Let me tell you, there's no way in hell that's happening. I ruthlessly exposed his true intentions. Zoe, I swear I've changed. I won't have anything to do with Lily anymore. Everything I have will be yours. And only yours, I promise. You think I'll believe your nonsense? I know exactly what kind of person you are. You and Lily are a perfect match, rotten to the core. Zoe. Leo was at a loss for words. Suddenly, his expression twisted with malice. He grabbed my arm and started dragging me toward the cornfield. If a Jiqing, educated youth, gets married in the countryside, she can't return to the city. If I take you right here and now, let's see where you'll go. Leo, if you touch me, I'll have you charged with assault. You won't get away with it. I warned him, but he only tightened his grip on my clothes. Go ahead and report me. If I go to prison, you'll still be stuck in the countryside, tied to my family for life. Besides, I took medicine before coming here. When it happens, I'll just say it was an accident. What can you possibly do about it? My heart sank. This bastard, he had planned this all along. I struggled with all my strength, but he was much stronger than me. Leo, you're insane. This is a crime. You'll regret this for the rest of your life. Regret? He sneered. My only regret is not doing this sooner. You're not going anywhere. He yanked at my clothes with even more force, nearly tearing them apart. Thinking fast, I stomped on his foot with all my might. As he doubled over in pain, I broke free from his grip and sprinted away. You damn woman, stop right there. But how could I possibly outrun him? Within a few steps, he caught up to me, grabbed my hair, and yanked me to the ground. A sharp pain shot through my scalp, and my vision blurred as I nearly blacked out. Leo straddled me, grabbing at my clothes again. I shut my eyes in despair. Was I really going to be ruined by this beast again? Just then, I heard a familiar voice. Leo, you son of a bitch. Get your hands off her. Ethan swung a shovel and struck Leo hard, knocking him unconscious. He raised it again for another blow, but I shook my head. Ethan, stop. If he dies, you'll be the one facing charges. Ethan panted heavily and spat on the ground. Damn it. That bastard got off easy. He slammed the shovel into the dirt with such force that my hands trembled from the impact. Just then, we heard a cautious voice calling from not too far away. Leo, should I go get someone? It was Lily. Ethan and I exchanged a glance, both of us understanding the same thing from each other's eyes. I took the shovel from Ethan's hand, muttering sorry about this under my breath. Then, I slowly moved behind Lily. She was still lost in her own delusions, completely unaware of the danger approaching. I took a deep breath, swung the shovel, and struck her at the back of the head. Lily let out a muffled grunt and collapsed limply to the ground. Chapter 10. I dragged Lily over to Leo's side, positioning them so they were tightly pressed against each other. Anyone who didn't know better would think it was a tragic case of star-crossed lovers committing suicide together. I disgustedly wiped my hands and, with Ethan, quickly left the cornfield. The next morning, just as dawn was breaking, Ethan and I sneaked away from the youth commune, carrying our luggage. When we reached the village entrance, we overheard some villagers gossiping. Hey, did you hear? Leo and Lily were found in the cornfield. Tisk. TSK. Really shameful. In broad daylight. They deserve it. Both of them are no good. I couldn't help but smirk inwardly. Leo and Lily had always used their reputation to manipulate me. Now it was their turn to drag each other down. As we climbed onto the tractor and drove away from the village, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. I had escaped the fate of my past life and, in a way, helped rekindle their doomed love affair. I hoped they would be grateful for what I had done. Back in the city, I was embraced by my parents, and the feeling of being reborn flooded through me. I successfully entered the military factory and became a full-time worker. This job had once been my dream, and now that I had it back, the feeling was completely different. My father, still recovering from his injury, didn't rest. Instead, he imparted all of his knowledge and experience from the army and the factory, becoming my best mentor. From mechanical principles to production processes, from safety regulations to interpersonal relationships, he guided me meticulously, helping me quickly adapt to the new work environment. I worked hard, studying diligently, and little by little, I mastered the skills, earned my title, and gained recognition from my mentor and colleagues. Later, I joined the military technology research team and once again worked on military research and development alongside Ethan, who had become a platoon leader. He adopted me as his older sister, and we became a true family. 10 years later, Ethan insisted on dragging me back to the old production brigade, which had now been transformed into a new village and was equipped with military-civilian dual-use technology. Sis, it's your technical breakthroughs that got you the vice factory director position. You at least have to go and see it. Besides, it's still our familiar place. So, I was taken back to the village that had once trapped me for 40 years. To my surprise, as soon as I arrived, a crazy woman came running out, and upon a closer look, it was Leo's sister. I asked an old lady at the village entrance to understand what had happened. What a sin! After all that trouble, Leo and Lily had no choice but to marry, but neither of them wanted it. And after the marriage, they never had a peaceful day. Lily, lazy and spoiled, only dreams of going back to the city to live comfortably. She never touches the work in the fields, leaving it all to Leo and his parents. The old couple was already in poor health, and after all this, they both passed away within 2 years, and Lily still couldn't settle down, selling off whatever she could in the house, saying she needed money to go back to the city. Leo didn't care and let her cause havoc. This drove his sister crazy and pushed his brother away. The old couple died one after the other, and in the end, it was for the best. If they had seen the family fall apart like this, it would have been even harder on them. I looked at Leo's sister, who seemed completely out of her mind, feeling a mix of emotions. In my past life, Leo's sister had married an honest farmer from a neighboring village. Although life was hard, it was stable. But in this life, she had ended up like this. Should I pity her, or should I think she got what she deserved? As I walked into the village, I suddenly ran into Leo, dressed in rags, looking like he was in a daze, half mad and half clear. Zoe, you're also reborn, right? I made a mistake in my past life. Let me make it up to you, okay? Lily is not a person who knows how to live. She's nowhere near you. A person like you deserves to roll around in the mud of the countryside. What more could you possibly be dissatisfied with? I sneered. These were his words from our past life, and now I was giving them back to him. Leo, lost and in tears, whispered, "I'm sorry. It was my fault." I didn't respond to his late apology. This was the life he had wanted in the past. And now, reborn, he was living a life that stood in stark contrast to the one he once longed for. A happy life, both distant and within reach. A pain that could never be escaped. This was the hell he would never be able to flee from in this life. I slowly walked toward the village entrance, the sunlight shining brightly, and the spring air was warm and full of flowers.